Yeah, he's cool and all, but what if he had a tail? I don't have a joke for this. Mario's power-ups are some of the most recognizable items in all of gaming. When you see this mushroom, you don't think, oh yeah, I remember Larry Boy. The flowers, the mushrooms, and of course the star. These are the things that makes Mario so fun to play. The creativity and ingenuity in each one makes these games, not you, worth coming back to. But above all, one of my favorite Mario games is Super Mario Bros. 3. Mario 3 is when the runway was set and all Nintendo had to do was take off. Awesome level design, catchy music with such limited hardware, a huge world to explore, and of course, a wonderful bunch of creative power-ups at your disposal. Have you ever wanted to hit your annoying neighbors upside the head with a sledgehammer?
The future is now!
But most importantly, the power-up that everyone remembers is the Super Leaf. The Leaf has become one of Mario's most well-known power-ups as of late. It's appeared in so many modern games that if you don't know what it does, you might be legally stupid. Is what I would say if Nintendo had a soul. I bet if you got a group of kids in a room and quizzed them on what this dying foliage does, half of them would give you different answers, and the other half would be dead because this is the internet and you're not allowed to disagree with a majority. If you grew up in the 90s or even early 2000s like I did, then you most likely associate this with Mario's raccoon form. A pretty basic change where Mario grows raccoon ears and a tail. However, if you grew up in the 2010s or just never played the classics, then you'd probably associate this brown leaf with Mario's poor attempt at a fursuit. And if you're really far gone, then this is just a thing that gives your cart a tail. I want to sit down and try and figure out what the heck this thing really is. Why does Nintendo seem to be so indecisive about this stupid leaf? And based on the majority, what is the real outcome of activating this thing? That's what I'm gonna waste like 11 minutes of your time figuring out today. How the frick is this video gonna reach 11 minutes? To start off, let's go back to when this crinkled flora was first introduced. During the development of Mario 3, Takashi Tezuka, no, not that guy, I'm not talking about the blue rat today, wanted a way for Mario to spin around and hit enemies with a tail. A very specific desire, but hey, to each their own. Additionally, Tezuka wanted to include flight since the original Super Mario Bros., so he began working on a way to include this as well. Ultimately, this ended up becoming the Super Leaf. It's pretty straightforward. Grab this thing and you'll be able to defend yourself against would-be assassins. And as an added bonus, if you manage to sprint long enough and fill this meter, you'll be able to take flight until the meter depletes. Pretty basic when I describe it like that, but I don't think it's said enough how momentous this little goober's creation really was. The Super Leaf was one of the first Mario power-ups to really solidify the creativity this franchise would go on to be known for. Fireballs, invincibility, Supersize Me, all of these are classic enhancements that people would expect, but grabbing an average-looking leaf, sprouting little ears and a big fluffy tail, and soaring through the skies is so stupidly ridiculously out there. And I love it. You can call me nostalgia blind, but there's just something about how proudly they showed off such a weird concept that makes me appreciate what Mario was at that point and what it would go on to be. However, the Super Leaf isn't the only raccoon-themed power-up this game was willing to offer. If you were to explore a bit and find some hidden rooms, or maybe get lucky while visiting Toad, you'd be granted the Tanuki suit. Oh, so the rest of the raccoon does exist. The Tanuki suit is basically the Super Leaf, but with the extra added bonus of allowing the wearer to become a stone statue, giving you both invincibility and the extra satisfaction of crushing enemies in a more brutal fashion than usual. Mario, you are not beating the PETA allegations.
Oh, brother!
The Tanuki suit is based on the Japanese yokai Tanuki. Nice to see Nintendo constantly drains our wallets and still can't spell. In the official yokai lore, the Tanuki, which looks like a real raccoon dog of the same name, can shapeshift into various objects, hence the stone statue. Pretty cool they incorporated something like that. Just be glad they didn't show the other two big features Tanukis are known for. As far as history goes, that's really all there is to it. The Super Leaf didn't have much relevance outside of Mario 3's lifespan. It was planned to be in multiple other mainline titles, but it really didn't actually get any screen time besides things like Mario Kart and Smash Bros. And that always confused me. Growing up, I binged the heck out of the older Mario shows, especially Mario 3, and Mario Advance 4 was one of my very first Mario games. The Super Leaf was a big factor in my early love of Mario. How many times can I say Mario in a single line? The Leaf meant a lot to me. I imagine what it'd be like if it were in a game like New Super Mario Bros., as I played that a lot, and I learned how to model clay into the tail and ears to put on Mario figures I had. I wanted to see it brought into the modern day. Oh hey, they're announcing a new 3D Mario. Oh my goodness! A new 3D Mario game centered around the raccoon tail? That's insane! It's everything I've been asking for. But there was something wrong. The Super Leaf was indeed back, and it was looking great with its new design, but it's not the same power-up. In this game, now the Super Leaf turns you into Tanuki Mario, completely cutting out the middleman between the original two power-ups, is what I would say if it wasn't just a neutered, watered-down, sorry excuse of a sorry, I'm feeling special today. Now, instead of flying, the Tanuki suit only grants you the ability to hover and assault civilians with your tail. Along with that, there's an invincibility version for if you're bad at dodging enemies or if you lack depth perception! Oh, but what about turning into stone for invulnerability and crushing your enemies? Nope, that's a right only reserved for a waste of a power-up slot. Yay! Now, I know that sounds bad. To someone like me, this game should be lighting up my whole world. And, you know, for a time it did. I absolutely love 3D Land. I've nearly 100%ed every file because I have no life, and back then my 2DS was my best friend. But I couldn't shake the feeling that my ideal modern Super Leaf could still be a reality. Like any day now, they'd go back to their roots and continue. Son of a! The year was 2012. The future was bright and Lego Ninjago flowed through my veins. Then, bam, new Super Mario Bros. 2 releases and my mind is blown. They did it! They brought back the Super Leaf, not this fake imposter, no, the actual Super Leaf. The P-meter, flight, tail whipping, cremation, it's all back! Well, it's not like a complete one-to-one. For whatever reason, they decided to make it so the Super Leaf doesn't give Luigi Raccoon extremities, but instead Kitsune ears and a tail. Why? I don't know, I guess they just decided number 2 needed to feel special. They did this in 3D World first, I was just too lazy to mention it there. Let's be real, new Super Mario Bros. 2 wasn't exactly what Mario needed at the time. This releasing the same year as nearly the exact same game on the Wii U left a lot to be desired. But I'm gonna be honest, I really don't care. I played the heck out of it, and while I never got to a million coins somehow, I loved being able to see a modern take on my favorite power-up, in a portable state no less. This game brought back the Super Leaf I cared about, so I was willing to look past the samey overall feel for a chance to use the nostalgic power-up. Plus, with this being the most recent appearance, maybe that means this is the actual canon version. Mother Hubbard! Super Mario 3D World. The reveal happened, and society collectively went... People were hoping for a new 3D Mario game, you know, a spiritual successor to 64 and Galaxy. And what did Nintendo do? Charge and Chuck Blockade. But we don't care about the cats, we're here for the raccoons. Why? Y'all literally just got done setting up the rise for a new era of Raccoon Mario, and you threw it away! Like, I get it, making Mario able to fly in this kind of game would be a little difficult, but I don't really care. Just give him the ears and a tail, that's all I want. There's no reason they couldn't have made the Tanuki its own thing here. They don't even give you the stone leaf here either. What do they do for you? Charge and Chuck's Blockade is back. It just confuses me, cause like, they had something so cool and iconic, ignored it for over a decade, defamed it, revived it, and then defamed it again for kicks and giggles. Maybe if they did the same thing to the Ice Flower and Penguin Suit, I'd understand, but that's just not the case. For context, in New Super Mario Bros. Wii, we were introduced to the Ice Flower and the Penguin Suit. The Ice Flower is basically the Fire Flower, but instead of setting turtles ablaze, you dismember them with hypothermia. The Penguin Suit, on the other hand, was the Ice Flower, but better. You could still throw ice balls, but you also swim better, slide through tight spots, and can keep from slipping on ice. Literally just a better Ice Flower. Plus, you look cool and awesome. Now, Nintendo, in their infinite wisdom, realized that the Penguin Suit can do literally everything the Ice Flower can, but better. They didn't really need 2 power-ups. Thus, with the release of New Super Mario Bros. U, the Ice Flower was replaced by the Penguin Suit as the main Ice World power-up, cutting out the middleman and getting rid of a pointless waste of code. Except I frickin' lied, that didn't frickin' happen. Both of these power-ups are still in this stupid recycling bin of a game. If the Tanuki Suit gets free reign to keep on returning, then why doesn't the raccoon get to come back? Well, as unfortunate as it is, it's just not as iconic. The Tanuki Suit has gone so far as to make it into the Mario movie.
Cool raccoon suit.
Seth Rogen, that is incorrect. In retrospect, the Tanuki Suit is the better option. It does more and it looks more fun overall. It just sucks. I really like the idea of having these 2 different options with different outcomes. But in the long run, the decision makes sense. Honestly, this video is just an excuse for me to finally be able to talk about Mario. The Super Leaf means a lot to me, so I wanted to take a minute to give a pointless rant on the subject. In the end, I'm just happy we actually saw a return of this thing. They could have gotten the bad timeline where it was stuck in the late 80s, never to return. Still though, the question remains, when an average kid sees this leaf, what do they think it does?
Isn't that just the thing that gives your card a tail?
I'll give you 1 second to start running.
What?
1.
Mark, look, I made a mistake.
A steak!
Yes,